Okay, good afternoon, everyone. So in the last class, we had discussed about certain terms related to surface chemistry, right? Yes. So Achyut, can you define adsorption?
Ma'am, when the substances are like only on the surface of the
Yes, accumulated or concentrated only at the surface, not into the bulk of the medium, right? This is known as adsorption, right? Rijas, what's the difference between adsorption and absorption?
In adsorption, the substance is concentrated at the surface.
Yeah.
In absorption, it is uniformly distributed
Throughout the
bulk of the solid.
yes, bulk of that medium. Okay. Then what about desorption, Nandana? Desorption.
Removal of adsorbent from the removal of adsorbate from adsorbent.
Okay, removal of adsorbate from the adsorbent. It is known as desorption. Then what about sorption? Dia, sorption.
Absorption and absorption same.
Take place simultaneously. It is known as sorption, right? Then now we are going to learn types of adsorption. Okay, types of adsorption. There are mainly two types of adsorption. Okay, two types of adsorption. Just 1 minute. Okay, first one is physisorption. First one is physisorption, and the second one is chemisorption. Like physics and chemistry, here it is physisorption and chemisorption. Okay, and it's related to physics and chemistry itself. Two types of adsorption of gases on solids. First one is physisorption and the second one is chemisorption. In physics, you have learned about certain types of forces, right? The first chapter of +1 physics itself, different types of forces, isn't it? Yes. So here, this physisorption, it is same the accumulation of gas on the surface of a solid. And here, weak van der Waals forces helps for the accumulation of that particles on its surface. Okay, weak van der Waals forces acting there. I told you on the surface of this substances, there are certain molecules, they have unbalanced forces. So they have a tendency to accumulate or concentrate some particle to its surface. So here, due to the presence of weak van der Waals forces, certain particles are accumulated or concentrated at the surface. It is known as physisorption. It is known as physisorption. Okay, next one in the case of chemisorption, chemistry mainly deals with chemical bonds, right? So here gas molecules or atoms are held together, held to the solid surface by chemical bonds. So here the particles are accumulated or concentrated at the surface due to this chemical bonds. It is known as chemisorption. If only weak van der Waals force is there, it is physisorption. And if chemical bond is between the surface and the adsorbate, it is known as chemisorption. This chemical bonds include both ionic and covalent bonds. Okay, ionic bonds or covalent bonds. Malavika, can you tell me which are the two types of adsorption?
Physisorption and chemisorption.
Yeah. Aryan, What do you mean by physisorption? Aryan? Aryan, can you hear me? Nia, are you there? All of you, please switch on your videos. Nia. Srihari,
Yes, ma'am.
what do you mean by physisorption?
Accumulation of gas on the surface of solid
Hmm.
with weak van der Waals forces.
Yes. Then what about chemisorption? Gayatri, chemisorption.
Gas molecules or atoms are held to the surface, solid surface by chemical bond.
Yes, chemical bonds. This bond may be covalent or ionic. Okay. Yes. Shall I move to next one, children? Have you completed? Yes, right? All of you? Yes. Then this physical adsorption or physisorption, it always take place at low temperature. Okay. This physisorption or physical adsorption, it always take place at low temperature. And when the temperature increases, it will automatically converted to chemisorption. So physical adsorption at low temperature may pass into chemisorption as the temperature is increased. So at low temperature, always physical adsorption take place. When the temperature increases, it will be converted to chemical adsorption or chemisorption. Here one example for this one, dihydrogen is first adsorbed on nickel by van der Waals forces. That means it belongs to physical adsorption or physisorption, right? Then these molecules of hydrogen then dissociate to form hydrogen atoms which are held on the surface by chemisorption. That means certain chemical bond is formed between that surface and the adsorbate. Okay. So this is an example for the above statement. At low temperature, physical adsorption or physisorption take place. When the temperature increases, it will be converted to chemisorption. So this weak van der Waals forces are the reason, main reason for this physisorption. So in the beginning, the dihydrogen is first adsorbed on nickel by van der Waals forces. So this nickel, it is the adsorbent. Just 1 minute. Nickel is the adsorbent. Okay. And this dihydrogen is the adsorbate. Adsorbent and adsorbate. The surface on which this adsorption take place, it is known as adsorbent. And the substance which is accumulated on the surface, it is known as adsorbate. Okay. So this dihydrogen, it is first adsorbed on the nickel by van der Waals forces. And molecules of hydrogen then dissociate to form hydrogen atoms, which are held on the surface by chemisorption. That means these hydrogen atoms then attach to this nickel by certain chemical bonds. These bonds may be ionic or covalent. So you have to remember this point. Physical adsorption always take place at lower temperature. With the increase of temperature, it will be converted to chemical adsorption or chemisorption. That means weak van der Waals forces are converted to certain chemical bonds. This is clear? Emmanuel, can you please read the slide?
Physical adoption at
Adsorption,
low
adsorption. Wait, adsorption.
adsorption,
Hmm.
adsorption at low temperature may pass into chemisorption as the temperature is increased.
Yeah.
Example, dihydrogen is first adsorbed as on nickel by van der Waals force. Molecules of hydrogen then dissociate to form hydrogen atoms which are held on the surface by chemisorption.
Okay. This is clear. And in sometimes both this physical adsorption and chemical adsorption take place there. Okay. In some cases, yeah, any doubt? Nothing, right? Okay. So in some cases, both physisorption and chemisorption take place. Okay. In some cases, both physisorption and chemisorption take place. And in the case of this chemisorption, high activation energy is needed. High activation energy is needed for this chemisorption. Michael. Yes, high activation energy is needed for this chemisorption because chemical bonds are there, right? Chemical bonds. For the formation of chemical bonds, high activation energy is needed. That's why at low temperature, physisorption take place, and with increasing temperature, it will be converted to chemisorption. High activation energy is needed for this chemisorption to take place. This is clear? Then we can learn the differences between this physisorption and chemisorption.
Ma'am,
Yeah, Achu?
not completed.
Okay, I will show it once again. Just wait. Finished, right? Yes. Then we can discuss the differences between this physisorption and chemisorption. Okay, the first one, it is not specific in nature. In the case of chemisorption, it is specific in nature. That means there is no such selection for the adsorbate to accumulated on that surface. All molecules can be adsorbed on that surface. Okay, there is no such specifications. But in the case of chemisorption, there are certain specifications there. Only certain molecules can able to attach to the surface because here it is based on the chemical bonds, right? So it is specific in nature. But in the case of physisorption, it is based on very weak van der Waals forces. So it is not specific in nature. Clear? That's the first point. Physisorption, it does not show any preference to any gas molecules. But in the case of chemisorption, it will show certain preference to certain molecules. That's the meaning of specific in nature. Okay. Then the second one, the reaction is reversible. That means both adsorption and desorption can take place. We have learned about desorption, right? Emmanuel, Steffi, please switch on your videos. Sania, Naurin, Srihari, Anthony, Nia, Aryan, Muhammad Adim, Lydia, Anna, all of you. Okay, so in the case of physisorption, it is reversible in nature. Both adsorption and desorption can take place. What do you mean by desorption? Steffi, desorption. Steffi. Yes.
Yes, ma'am.
What is desorption?
Desorption.
Hmm.
It is the process of removing an absorbed substance from the surface on which it is adsorbed.
Okay, very good. It's the process of removal of that adsorbate from the adsorbent, right? So in this case, physisorption, both this adsorption and desorption take place. That's why here it is reversible. Okay, it's based on weak van der Waals forces. So it's very easy for the removal of such substance from the surface. But in the case of chemisorption, it is irreversible. It is irreversible because when a chemical bond take place between these compounds, a new product will be formed, right? After a chemical reaction, a new product will be formed. So it is irreversible in nature. In the case of physisorption, both forward and backward reaction take place there. That's why it belongs to reversible. Here, there is no such forward and backward reaction, only single reaction and a new product is formed. Okay, that's the second difference between physisorption and chemisorption. Then the third point, enthalpy of adsorption is very low. What is enthalpy of adsorption? That's the energy needed. Okay, in the case of physisorption, it is very low. But in the case of chemisorption, it is very high. High activation energy is needed for this chemisorption to take place. It is near to 80 to 240 kilojoule per mole. In the case of physisorption, it is 20 to 40 kilojoule per mole. Okay, that's the third point. In physisorption, enthalpy of adsorption is quite low. And in chemisorption, enthalpy of adsorption is very high, 80 to 240 kilojoule per mole. Then the fourth one, in the case of physisorption, it depends on the nature of the gas. Okay, depends on the nature of the gas. It is not specific in nature. That means not such preference for any molecules there. But here it depends on the nature of gas. Example, for more easily liquefiable gases, they can absorb readily. Okay, more easily liquefiable gases. That means certain gases easily converted to liquid form, right? So more easily liquefiable gases are absorbed readily in the case of physisorption. Chemisorption also depends on the nature of gas. Gases which can react with adsorbent show chemisorption. Okay, gases which can react with the adsorbent. Adsorbent means that surface on which this adsorption takes place. It is known as adsorbent, right? So gases which can easily react with this adsorbent show chemisorption. Clear? Here, more easily liquefiable gases are adsorbed readily in the case of physisorption. In chemisorption, gases which can easily react with adsorbent show chemisorption. Clear? Then the fifth one, low temperatures are favorable. We already learned that at low temperature, this physisorption takes place. When temperature increases, it will be converted to chemisorption. So here, in the case of chemisorption, high temperatures are favorable. High temperatures are favorable. Then in physisorption, no appreciable activation energy is required. No appreciable activation energy is required. But here in chemisorption, high activation energy is required for this process. For the formation of chemical bond, high activation energy is needed. We have learned about activation energy. Do you remember that one? The energy required for the formation of that activated complex, right? Reactants not directly converted to products. In between, there is one intermediate state or activated complex. So the energy required for the formation of such activated complex, it is known as activation energy. So in the case of chemisorption, high activation energy is required for this process. And the last one, in the case of physisorption, results into multimolecular layers on adsorbent surface under high pressure. It will act as several layers over this adsorbent. Okay, it will act as multimolecular layers on adsorbent. And here result into unimolecular layer, only single layer there. It is based on chemical bond. And you can add one more point that's in the definition itself. In physisorption, weak van der Waals forces. Okay, weak van der Waals force. Here it is chemical bond. Chemical bond. So these are the main differences between physisorption and chemisorption. So comparison of physisorption and chemisorption. Punya, can you read the first point of both physisorption and chemisorption?
Physisorption not specific in nature, chemisorption specific in nature.
Okay. Rijas, read the second one.
Physisorption is reversible. Chemisorption is irreversible.
Okay. Nandana, read the next one.
Enthalpy of adsorption is low, that is 20 to 40 kilojoule per mole.
Yeah.
And enthalpy of adsorption is high in chemisorption, 80 to 240 kilojoule per mole.
Okay. Gayatri, read the next one.
Physisorption, it depends on the nature of gas. More easily liquefiable gases are absorbed readily.
Okay.
Then chemisorption, it also depends on the nature of gas. Gases which can react with the absorbent show chemisorption.
Okay. Adul, can you read the next one?
Low temperatures are favorable, high temperatures are favorable.
Okay. Meenakshi?
In physisorption, no appreciable activation energy is required. In chemisorption, high
activation energy.
activation energy is required.
Okay, okay. Emmanuel, what about the next one? Last point.
Weak van der Waals
Before that.
results into multimolecular layers on adsorbent surface under high pressure.
Yeah.
Results into unimolecular layer.
Okay. Then Sharon, last one.
In physisorption, weak van der Waals force, and chemisorption, chemical bond.
Okay. So these are the major comparison between this physisorption and chemisorption. Is this clear? Do you have any doubt? Anyone? Nothing, right? Then there is one more point that is common in both physisorption and chemisorption. Okay. Both processes depend on the surface area. That's we discussed in the beginning. I told you when the surface area increases, this adsorption also increases. So in the case of finely divided particles, this surface area will increases. So it will leads to the increase in this adsorption also. Both increases with an increase in surface area. Both means physisorption and chemisorption. Both process depend on the surface area. Both increase with increase in surface area. You can also write finely divided substances and porous substances. Have more surface area. Okay, that's why we are giving preference to powdered substances. Powdered substances. This is clear. Shall I move to next one, children? Yes. Next topic is adsorption isotherm. Okay, adsorption isotherm or adsorption isotherms. It's a curve that expresses the variation in the amount of gas adsorbed by the adsorbent with pressure at constant temperature. Okay, so it's related to a curve or a graph. It's a curve that expresses the variation in the amount of gas adsorbed by the adsorbent. Okay, variation in the amount of gas adsorbed by the adsorbent with pressure at constant temperature. So we need to plot a graph with pressure versus amount of gas adsorbed by the adsorbent. Okay, amount of gas adsorbed by the adsorbent. Clear? It's a curve that expresses the variation in the amount of gas adsorbed adsorbed by the adsorbent with pressure at constant temperature. The name itself, it is isotherm. Iso means same, term for temperature. So it is constant temperature or for specific temperature. Okay, then we are moving to a specific adsorption isotherm suggested by Freundlich. So it is known as Freundlich adsorption isotherm. Okay, Freundlich adsorption isotherm. Shall I move to next one? Yes, right? Yes.
Yes, ma'am.
Okay, just wait. Okay. Freundlich adsorption isotherm. Yeah, Achyut?
It was the last slide.
I will show it once again. Okay, that's after this portion. Freundlich adsorption isotherm. Freundlich adsorption isotherm. It was suggested by the scientist Freundlich. That's why it is known as Freundlich adsorption isotherm. It's also the relation between quantity of gas adsorbed by unit mass of solid adsorbent and pressure at a temperature. Okay. It also states the relation between quantity of gas adsorbed by unit mass of solid adsorbent and pressure at a temperature. This is one equation. Yeah, Achyut?
What is 1909?
That's the year in which this was discovered. Okay. This proposed. So it's the relation between quantity of gas adsorbed by unit mass of solid adsorbent and pressure at a temperature. And this is the relation between this amount of gas absorbed by the unit mass of solid adsorbent and the pressure. X by M is equal to K into P raised to 1 by N. Okay, X by M, that is equal to K into P raised to 1 by N. And this X stands for the mass of adsorbate. Okay, X stands for the mass of adsorbate. That means the mass of substance that is accumulated on the surface. And M stands for the mass of adsorbent, the material on which this adsorption takes place. That is adsorbent, so the mass of adsorbent. X by M, that is equal to K into P raised to 1 by N. K stands for a constant. P for pressure. X by M, that is the amount of gas adsorbed. X by M, that is equal to K into P raised to 1 by N. This N is also a constant, okay? And it is always greater than 1. This is clear? So this is the relation between the amount of gas adsorbed by unit mass of solid adsorbent and pressure at a temperature. It was proposed by Freundlich and it is known as Freundlich adsorption isotherm. Okay, then in the last chapter, we just learned how to take log for this equation, right? So the next step, taking log on both sides. Okay, applying log on both sides. So this is the equation. X by M is equal to K into P raised to 1 by N. And N is always greater than 1. Then applying log on both sides. Here it is log X by M. Okay, log X by M. And the next one, K into P. So we can split it into two terms. That means addition is there. If two terms are multiplied, when we convert it into log, we can change it to addition. If two terms are divided there, we can find out the difference between two. Okay. Here it is K into P raised to 1 by N. So it is log K plus this power, that is write as a coefficient. So log K plus 1 by N log P. Log K plus 1 by N log P. Now it is the format of equation of straight line, right? Equation of straight line. What's the equation of straight line? Manuel?
Y equal to mx plus c.
Yes, y equal to mx plus c. That's the equation of straight line. So we can compare this equation with the equation of straight line. So can you tell me from this equation, which one is the slope and which one is the intercept? Vidur? Which one is the slope from this equation?
Log k.
Isn't it? Slope y equal to mx plus z. This m stands for slope. So okay, we can make clarification through this graph. Okay, we are going to plot this relation in the form of a graph. So we are plotting log p in the x-axis and log x by m in the y-axis. Okay, log p in the x-axis and log x by m in the y-axis. And if we are plotting different quantity of gas adsorbed on the adsorbent at different pressures, a straight line is obtained. Okay, a straight line is obtained. And here, log p versus log x by m. So can you tell me now which one is the slope, Vidur?
One by n.
Yes, very good. It's 1 by n. Then what about log k? What is that? Yeah.
I don't understand that.
Here, this one y equal to mx plus c. Okay. Here, the c stands for log k. Okay, this one is mx. Okay, so if you are plotting log p against log x by m, the slope is 1 by n, right? And this log k, that is the intercept. Okay, log k, that is the intercept. So from this graph and from this equation, the slope that is equal to 1 by n. Then the intercept that is equal to log k. We just extrapolate or extend this straight line towards the y-axis. There is one spot here. It is log k. That's the intercept. Slope that is equal to 1 by n. Then the intercept that is log k. From both this equation and this graph, we can able to determine the slope and intercept. Slope is 1 by n and intercept is log k. This is clear? So that's about the Freundlich adsorption isotherm. Then one more graph based on this adsorption isotherm that we can discuss in the next class. Okay. The same one, log x by m, x by m versus pressure at a different temperature, at particular temperatures that we can discuss in the next class.
Ma'am,
Yeah, Chut. Unmute.
why are there dotted lines?
To extend this straight line towards this y-axis. Okay, in order to get this y-intercept, we just extended this line. That is known as extrapolating graph. Okay, this is clear now? So can you tell me the relation? All of you, please switch on your videos. Nidhi, Anthony, Nia, Alvin, Lydia, Donna, Malavika, Krishna, Ashwin, all of you switch on your videos. Gauri, can you tell me the relation suggested by Freundlich on this amount of gas adsorbed and the pressure?
X by n is equal to k dot p raised to 1 by n, where n is greater than 1.
Yeah. What is this K and N, Michael? K and N. Yeah. K and N. X by M. K into P raised to 1 by N. Okay, leave that. Tell me what is P? P. What is P? Yeah, it's pressure, right? P stands for pressure. And what about X by M, Anna? X by M.
Ma'am, X by M is amount of gas
Adsorbed, right? Then K and N are constants. Okay, K and N are constants. Then what about the slope when we plot this log X by M against log K? Sorry, log P, right? Yes, log P. Gayatri, what's the slope obtained when log X by M is plotted against log P?
1 by n.
Yeah, 1 by n. Then what about the intercept obtained from the graph? Naureen?
Log K.
Log K. Then which are the two types of adsorptions? Evelyn?
Physioption and chemioption.
Physisorption and chemisorption. Okay. Then just 1 minute. Let me take your attendance. Okay, thank you all. See you in the next class. Bye.
Thank you.
Thank you.